Hi, and welcome to the Pyjama Philosopher channel. I called it that because I intend to shoot every episode in my pajamas. Guess it's just more comfortable that way. This is intended as a practical philosophy channel that I hope can help you make sense of what sometimes can seem like a really bewildering world. And I'm hoping to share the insights I've gleaned from my life and my life experiences, share them with you because I think, maybe they can help you make sense of this really tumultuous time we live in. It's hard to know whether it's a byproduct of living in a more connected age or if that leads with instant communication that leads to this perception of a world in continuous turmoil, or if it's always been like that throughout human history. I mean, we all know human history has been anything but dull. Um, but this does seem to be something peculiarly unique about the time we're living in right now. Um, uh, Fukuyama's end of history, much maligned end of history, um, has sort of been replaced by the birth of a new history. All around the world, we can see things that we sort of thought, things that we had come to take for granted. The forward march of democracy, the eventual liberation of all humanity from tyranny and oppression, many things that we had come to expect would fall into place at the collapse of the Berlin Wall and the end of the Cold War have not turned out like many people expected. And instead, we see all sorts of new phenomena like demagoguery rising in the United States, the rollback of perestroika and glasnost in Russia, well, ex-Soviet Union, wars in modern wars in Europe, international wars in Europe that had more or less been at peace for most of the post-war period. And then with the rise of artificial intelligence and climate change, the widening income inequality both within and between countries, it does seem like a really tumultuous time to be alive. And I know it. I have struggled in my own personal life to find my way and find my path and make sense of the world in a rational, non-superstitious way, and try to glean, derive, maybe craft a philosophy for life that's grounded in realism and in scientific truth. And I, I've certainly found that a huge intellectual challenge. And my guess is that for most people, it is a big intellectual challenge making sense of life, finding a philosophy to live by, finding a purpose for your life. So the inspiration for the Pajama Philosopher came out of a book I was trying to write um, that I called Grubby, and that stands for Green Universal Basic Income. And it's, I think, like the closest analogy I could think of um, for this book to books that are in uh, on contemporary political philosophy would be um, it's my attempt at an abridged version of the a book like The Communist Manifesto or Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations. Okay, nowhere nearly as uh, long or as detailed as those books were, and I never intended for the Groupie book to ever be that, because I don't think it does much good to write a huge, impenetrable tome that people can't relate to, and that is long on philosophy and short on practicality. So I deliberately went a different route in this endeavor, because I'm trying to condense everyday ideas for everyday people and everyday digestion, and approach this book almost like a manifesto for modern day life and the modern day structuring of society, without trying to be overly academic and unrealistically radical, and or hopelessly unpragmatic, as a lot of dogma-based political philosophy texts can be. So the intention with that book is to be very accessible and very relatable to everyday people like myself. So that book inspired this channel, because I thought, well, it might also be interesting, rather than just like creating an ebook and publishing it, and and waiting on people to sort of have to get into those ideas for themselves, find the book if they could, and read it for themselves and get into those ideas. I thought it might be a nice idea to build a YouTube channel to go with the book, and sort of do one video, explain a video on each chapter that I've written in that book. So that it, it becomes more easily accessible, it becomes more readily accessible. And it's always nice to have someone explain things to you, that, rather than just having to rely solely on what they've written and see and try to make cognitive sense of it for yourself. So that's the intention of this channel. I think every episode will probably be 10 to 15 minutes long, short format. Don't want to drone on too long and bore people. It's never a good thing. But yeah, so this is my first introductory video for the Pyjama Philosopher. And in this channel, I will explain every chapter of my book, Grubby, Green Universal Basic Income, a philosophy, a manifesto for life. Okay, thank you very much.